Yeah, hello, it's Gary here from the Hawke's Bay in New Zealand. I live on rural property, and on this property we've got earthworks that have been here for some centuries, pre-European earthworks, parallel level terraces, up in the on top of a hillsides and over around a hilltop things, and dugouts in them, and various little ramparts or whatever you might call them. Dew ponds, little things there that you see if you search them in say Ireland or other countries, and it's pretty noticeable when I have visitors here. Say from even the native land court, or Maori land court they might call it nowadays, and historians, archaeologists, anthropologists, there's a lot of people, big names that have been here, just small groups, no big, lots of parties, really. And the conversation always goes back to Land's End area around Stonehenge and a bit further north in England, because there's similar earthworks there. And the conversation doesn't hinder around Polynesia at all. It's really quite odd, like as I would have expected that, anyway, it doesn't. And so I've studied, and I've got books here. Ancient Celtic New Zealand was one which first influenced me in the navigation sense. It was the first time I actually had any understanding about navigation. It was really an interesting little book. I read others like Noah's Land, Forbidden History. Those are John Dudley Aldworth's books, and Origin of the Polynesians, which is Cedric Livingston. That's interesting, and he follows the origins through the Tikis and the language and things like that. And Lady Eileen Fox, she's a very famous person, archaeologist, and others, and they all don't answer my questions, and I think that at the moment there's an understanding that's available, and I've found it in the book The Plume of the Arawas, that one there, Frank O.V. Aitchison. Now, Frank Aitchison was a native land court judge back in about 1910, and he wrote this book, what was published around 1930, with the permission of the Maori folk then. And he talks of page 273. This is found online, and Victoria University have it on one of their websites, and you actually read it online there. I bought a couple of copies through Trade Me. The chapter 8 starts, The Plume of the Arawas, whence may come the terms of peace so lasting that rage and battle strife will cease to be. It's like it's prophetic. It's 80 years ago or something. Really, like prophetic of this age, that this little thing, this plume, is going to burst through, and the terms of peace so lasting may come. It's amazing. So I think this is a part of what we're on about. I'm going to read it at the moment, page 283. Now, here's, because I started searching this through researching this, looking for the Nighti Haiti people who I realised were here before the current people were here, and they were dispossessed, said, of this area, and went back up into the Taupo region. In the Arawa people from up there, plenty, they went and conquered the Taupo area and conquered the Nighti Haiti, but there was a few survivors, and the DNA of those people, like it's very little Polynesian, and it's probably only around 20%, I think, and it goes way back up into the north and Mediterranean, Persia, those sort of things. So there's a lot of questions to be answered. In this little book, Plume of the Arawas, it says that here on, so I start page 283, and he talks of the other races that lived here. And then he says he comes, this is Nukutia, who's the chief, the guy who keeps the historical side of things, and he's talking to Tuwharetoa, who's the leading role player in this book. Thus do I come to the point where I left off last night, for the stranger chief who took to wife the daughter of Hui Te Rangiora on Little Hawaii was of the white race. According to tradition, he was a man of very fair skin and had blue eyes and had a fair hair of a distinctly reddish tinge. But the most extraordinary thing about the man was that from just above his ears there grew two small wings, one on either side of the head. Tradition records also that the stranger chief was the eldest son of the ruler of some cold country far away in the north, and that he was a great voyager and an expert at navigating a vessel upon the ocean. Indeed, it would seem that he taught our people much that was of value to them later in their migrations across the sea. There is a question hovering upon thy lips, O Arawa. His name was Erica. Acute disappointment filled the mind of Tuwharetoa, for the name Erica was a new name to him, and a strange name. Now the names Hui Te Rangiora and Puhi Ariki had been quite well known to him, for they were on his own line of ancestors and in the whakapapa or pedigree handed down from Ngā Taro I Rangi. But according to that whakapapa, Puhi Ariki had married the sea god Tangaroa. Erica? That was surely not a Maori name. His name was Erica, repeated Nukutia, but because he pronounced his name as if its ending had been bitten off, Puhariki did not like that name, and therefore, upon her marriage to Erica, she gave him a new name, the name Tangaroa. That name is known to thee, O Arawa, Taiha. Well, I know that gods are men, and I mean, that book says it's quite plainly, there's the sea god Tangaroa is a Viking to me. It's a Northman, North Viking. Look, read that book. It's a lovely but beautiful story in it, particularly about the canoe battle on Lake Taupo. Lovely, good writer. So now he's not going to write that book. He had permission from the Maori elders. He's not going to write that book about somebody he loves so much and make it a lie. Just not like you know. It's just the spirit of it. So I believe it's very accurate, and that has been hidden for us. Well, that understanding has been covered up by all the nonsense that we've in the more recent years. So we have some answers there, and I overlay that. All these books I've read, everything and when I go back up onto the past, thinking that the Viking influence is there, it just makes sense. It answers a lot of questions from, the prows of boats and the tattoos and things. But you could even with that get it's the eldest son of the chief of the northern country at that time, and the lineage through the Maori line there back to Little Hawaii. You actually date and you know who Tangaroa actually was, Eric, but you could there's a lineage there because those the wife of Erica was came out here with her two sons. That's where your Arawa canoe, and there's another one I think canoe that came out from that lot. Yeah, it's wonderful, lovely stuff. So there you are. Thank you.